Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. So today we'll be seeing the INICET November 2021 recall questions. Okay, let's quickly go into the discussion. First, a male patient who has developed transient ischemic attack and his 2D echo is suggestive of severely stenotic mitral valve. What are the management options that should be done for him? A. Only ecospirin to be given. B. Novel oral anticoagulants, Novax, are not effective here. C. Warfarin to be given. D. Valve replacement should be planned. So, what are the options, statements, statements among the following? Yeah, actually, if you see in mitral stenosis, how to give anticoagulation. See, if it is a non-valvular cause of atrial fibrillation, then anticoagulation will be given by CHAD VAS2 score. Okay, but if it is a valvular MS, that too, if it is a severe or moderate MS, then if it is associated with any one of the following, like one, if it is associated with atrial fibrillation, you must give anticoagulation. If it is associated with any prior embolic event, meaning the thrombus has started to form in the left atrium, so you should definitely give anticoagulation. Or if you see any thrombus in echo, then also you should be giving anticoagulation. Remember, moderate to severe MS, the anticoagulation of choice will be only warfarin and not any novel oral anticoagulants. Novel oral anticoagulants actually are replacing warfarin in each and every aspect. Exceptions, if you see, these three you should remember. First is severe MS, moderate to severe MS, we don't give novel oral anticoagulants. And in case of mechanical heart valves, okay, prosthetic valves, there also we won't give. Then any drug interactions with novel oral anticoagulants, there we won't be giving. So this exception you should be remembering. Then, yeah, so if you come to the treatment, if you see, first definitely you should not give novel oral anticoagulants. It's a right statement. Warfarin should be started. Yes, it should be started within 48 hours. It's mandatory to start warfarin instantly, because if you don't start warfarin, then what has happened actually, a thrombus is formed in the left atrium and has embolized. So further showers of embolization is possible and CVA is possible. So you should definitely anticoagulate with warfarin. Then valve replacement. Yes, this indicates that it's going towards severe MS and it needs valve replacement so that prevention of further embolic events can be done. Okay, so the options will be B, C, and D is true. Okay, yes. Yeah, and this CHAD VAS2 score, when to use? It is used only in case of non-valvular atrial fibrillation. CHAD VAS2, if you see, C for congestive cardiac failure, H for hypertension will carry 1 point, A for age greater than 75 will carry 2 points, D for diabetes mellitus 1 point, and S2 for stroke or TAA or any thromboembolic event carries 2 points, and VAS means V, vascular event, vascular disease, and A for age 65 to 74, it will carry 1 point, and more than 75 2 points, and S for sex, female sex will carry 1 point. So total if you calculate, in that if the score is more than or equal to 2, then the patient needs anticoagulation in case of non-valvular atrial fibrillation, and the anticoagulation of choice mostly will be novel oral anticoagulants. Okay, only in valvular MS, severe MS, we will be going for warfarin. Okay, yes. So next question, in isovolumetric contraction of ventricles will cause dash wave in JVP. A wave, C wave, X descent, Y descent. So if you see this JVP, actually we will see in short of the tracing. So initially S1 will be the closure of the mitral as well as tricuspid valves, followed by the ventricles will be in a state of isovolumetric contraction, where both the tricuspid as well as the pulmonary valves will be closed. The ventricles will be contracting. At that phase, this increased pressure will produce a bulge in the tricuspid valve, which will produce a positive wave in the JVP, which is the C wave. Okay, yes. Next, if you see, the pulmonary valves start to open and blood starts going in the ejection phase. It will be ejected into the pulmonary trunk. At that time, what happens is the atrium descends down. Okay, it enlarges and descends down. So, spacious atrium. So, blood starts to fill in the atrium. So, pressure in the jugular veins decrease. So, that produces a negative descent, followed by slow accumulation of blood in the right atrium will produce slowly a positive wave, which is the V wave. Okay, followed by S2, means closure of pulmonary valves. Now, what happens is your mitral valve and tricuspid valve opens. So the blood accumulated in the atrium will suddenly fall into the ventricle. A rapid ventricular filling followed by slow ventricular filling. So what will happen? Obviously, pressure decreases in the atrium, pressure decreases in the JVP. That is produces a negative descent called Y descent. Followed by the last portion of the blood in the atrium will be contracted by the atrium and pushed into the ventricles. That is the atrial kick or the A wave, atrial wave. Okay, so the question is isovolumetric contraction of ventricles. It is obviously the C wave. Okay, yes. Next question, if you see, seizure in neonate is caused due to hypocalcemia, hypomagnesemia, hypernatremia, hyponatremia. They have distributed the statements. So first, let's see the mechanism behind it. It will help you easily remember these causes. Actually, in a neuron of brain, there are voltage gated sodium channels, which will be blocked. The gate will be plugged by calcium as well as magnesiums. So, if there is normal plugs are there in the channels, then these channels won't open unnecessarily. No depolarization unnecessarily. Okay, but if there is hypocalcemia, hypomagnesemia, so what will happen? These channels are opened unnecessarily. So depolarization starts in the neurons unnecessarily firing off neurons, which is nothing but a seizure activity. Okay, so hypocalcemia and hypomagnesemia can cause seizures. Okay, yes. Next thing what you should know is hyponatremia. What happens in hyponatremia? It can be demonstrated by a simple picture, like this jerry will be your water and osmoles are your solutes, like cheese, like sodium, glucose, bun. This jerry will be always running behind cheese, like that. Water will be always running behind these osmoles. So if you normally see in ECF, extracellular fluid, sodium, glucose will be there, water will be running behind them. But if there is hyponatremia, low levels of cheese in extracellular fluid, low levels of sodium. So now what will the jerry do? There is no cheese in the extracellular fluid. Whatever cheese is present in the intracellular fluid, jerry will try to go and capture it. So that will cause water shift into the intracellular compartment. In the brain, if this happens, it will cause cerebral edema. This cerebral edema can cause nothing but irritation of the brain neurons. It causes seizures. So seizures can be caused by hyponatremia, hypocalcemia, hypomagnesemia. Okay, yes. Yeah, hypoxia seen in normal alveolar arterial oxygen gradient, seen in where A. Hypoventilation, B. Ventilation perfusion mismatch, C. Right to left shunt, or D. Alveolar membrane disease. So if you see here, what is this formula? Actually, if a patient develops hypoxemia in a hypoxemia, then if you calculate this gradient, you will have an idea where to go, what differential diagnosis you should think. So if this is nothing but A minus A, meaning alveolar oxygen minus partial pressure in the arterial oxygen. So it measures the integrity of your unit, this transfer unit. Okay, so this exchange unit, how it is functioning. So if this is damaged by the alveolar membrane itself is damaged, or ventilation or perfusion में some mismatch is going on, say some right to left shunt is happening, so blood is not at all flowing to the lungs. Okay, so these causes will cause shunting of blood away from the lungs, and this A minus A gradient will be increased. Okay, so if you see a normal A minus A gradient means your lung is exactly perfectly normal. There is some central cause of some hypoventilation like that. So in this answers, if you see hypoventilation is there, it's nothing but the cause for hypoxemia with normal A minus A gradient, O2 gradient. Okay, yes. The true statement regarding COVID, CORATS is CORATS 0 means a normal CT scan. CORATS 5 means all the following, all the features, typical features are seen in that CT scan. Or C is unifocal consolidation is typical of COVID. So what is the true statement? So if you see for CORATS, it starts from 1 to 6. 0 is not at all in the picture. 1 means a normal CT scan, no abnormalities there. 2 means there are some infections which are other than COVID. And 3 means they are like indeterminate for COVID, whether you are not sure whether COVID is present or not. Next, 4, if you see, these are findings suspicious of COVID, meaning almost it's COVID only. If COVID 5 is there, they are typical findings of a COVID. And COVID 6 means only RT-PCR for COVID is positive. Okay, so the true statement will be COVID 5 corresponds to typical features of COVID. Mechanism of action of remdesivir. So if you see this, actually the COVID coronavirus enters our human cell by entering to the receptor called ACE2 receptor as well as TMP SSR2. So by unlocking this ACE2 receptor, it enters in and it releases its RNA. This RNA through the enzyme called RNA dependent RNA polymerase, lots of proteins are produced like S protein, M protein, enveloped proteins, all those proteins, and they are assembled and they are released. Okay, so if you see this enzyme, RNA dependent RNA polymerase, this enzyme is targeted by your remdesivir, which will inhibit your viral proliferation. Okay, so this is the action of remdesivir. Next, the flow rates in a green cannula is, previously they used to ask the color coding, now they have started asking the flow rates also. So let's how to remember these easily. Let's see it. Actually, this is a usual thing we used to remember for color coding. Nothing but for the sun will be there, which is the highest point, so 24 gauge. Next, blue sky will be there, 22 gauge. Then a pink flower is there, pink, 20 gauge. And plant is there, so it is green, 18 gauge. And a gray soil is there, which is 16 gauge. And if you go down, it's lava will be there, orange, it will be 14 gauge. So flow rates, how to remember? Definitely, as you know, as gauge increases, your flow rate will also increase, diameter also will increase. So if you see the flow rate, you can remember like 20 for your sun, 20 ml per minute, and 40 ml per minute for your sky, and 60 ml per minute for your pink flower, and 90 ml per minute for your green cannula. Then it is 180 for your gray and 240 ml for your orange cannula. Okay, yes. So your answer will be 90 ml per minute for your green cannula. This condition is seen with which are the following drug? Or they just gave this picture and asked what is this pic depicting. It is nothing but long-term use of amiodarone. It is nothing but Cerula derma vehicle. just the bluish discoloration of skin with long term usage of amiodarone. Okay, yes, that's it. We'll be seeing the next discussion very soon. So I've been discussing regularly daily 15-minute MCQ discussion in Speed Medical Institute YouTube channel. You can follow me there in that series of discussion. And also we are in the plan of uploading more videos in view of final year practical examination, like clinical demonstration videos as well as history taking videos. Yes, stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.